I got them all about 1 inch right now. If you got a big standard screwdriver, you can put it down in here. You might be able to twist the top of that and hold the nut at the same time and get that down there a little bit. You know, that might help you. And that's why I had to have this inside tank piece positioned right. Else I wouldn't be able to get to that screw. But ultimately, I'm not going to tighten everything down just with the screwdriver. You know, I'm still going to get down below here and tighten it with my wrench. And then after a while, if I look and see that the bolt is spinning, I could take my screwdriver in there and just hold it, you know, and then reach under here and tighten this nut, okay, once it starts spinning, and that will help you. All right, so where am I at now? We started at 3/4. I'm at 1 inch and 1/16. And I got 1 inch back there and 1 inch right there. Okay. And I look in here and I know I can go a little bit tighter. There was also a spacer in between here where the bolt was, and there's a little bit more room at that spacer. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sucking that long bit that was pooched out from inside the tank where the screw is. Remember, I was pushing that with my hands and making that little nib around there? That's what's going to keep that tight and from leaking, okay? So that's what's happening right now. That bolt is sucking down further. Not actually got this 100% tight just yet, okay? I want to make sure that is tight there and snug before I call this good. It's looking pretty good. This feels nice and solid now. And I checked my bolts all the way around. I got 1 inch and 3/16. 1 inch and 3/16. That's from the bottom of the nut with the bolt sticking through. This is just for this toilet. It's not for yours. Okay? This is just for mine. Depends how it all lays up. Your measurements might be different. But I'm just telling you the steps and how I go about this. And I got 1 inch and 3/16 there. Now if I tighten this up anymore, I mean, with this wrench, I can keep tightening. You know, I just don't know how much more tight I want to go. You know, I'm pretty snug with this. And also when the water goes down in there, when it hits the rubber may have a slight tendency to expand a little bit. And, you know, do I want to tighten this too much more? If I tighten it a little bit more, maybe I go 1/16 here, there, and in the back. And that's about it. Because everything's tightening to just this little bit of porcelain. That's what I say. That's why I'm saying it's easy to crack. So that porcelain right there is a 1/2 inch thick. Now, do you see what I'm saying? You're tightening this down to a 1/2 inch thick there. So if you got it tight right now, you want to make a little bit more, you're putting that much more pressure on a 1/2 inch of porcelain, and you could have a tendency to crack right there or crack this, because this is only, you know, that's only a 1/2 inch thick too. The bottom of it, I don't know how thick it is. It might be a little more, or about the same. I'm not quite sure. But I got that snug, I think. I think I'm going to keep that right there. I'm going to fill these a little bit more. You know, obviously I cannot turn them with my fingers now. Just been able to turn it with this. That feels pretty good. All right, I'm just going to make one quarter turn here for right now. Do the same here. Okay. I think really that's going to be good. Now I've got to tighten up the water line. Remember? It's just down here, and it was finger tight from before. And it's generally just plastic. You know, you don't want to over tighten that. You want to get it snug. I usually get it snug, and I might take a pair of pliers and do just a oomph. You know, not very much. Not very much, because you might loosen your tree here, and you might swivel it over into the wrong position. Okay, there's a nut down there for that too. Make sure that's tight. All right, we're going down under. You see that nut right there? I'm hand tighten that, and I just tighten it with a wrench a little bit, not very much. And this nut, this top nut, you just want it as tight as you can do it with your thumb. Usually it got some little prongs on there like that. If it doesn't, you can take a pair of pliers and just tighten that just a hair. Not very much. And see, that tightens that right there. And you want this, take a look at that. You don't want to twist it too much, because it might get in the way of something down there. You know what I mean? I've got a whole video too that shows you how to replace that. That's called a fill valve, a water fill valve. But for now, we're tightening this up, and we can go ahead and turn the water on now. When you took the chain off for the flapper, here's the chain for the flapper. Okay, you got to remember before you take that out which hole. See, there's two notches there, and then there's an end one, and I remember I took that off of the end. Okay. Actually, I think that was facing down the other way. Jeez. I put it on there wrong, didn't I? I think. Okay. A hard time getting it back off. I want to put it on the bottom, I guess, like that. And I'll check that. I may have to adjust that. If I have to adjust that, I can take this chain and do some adjustments. But kind of take note on how you've done that before. See, that could have been up on top like it was before. That would have shortened it too, right? Okay, now this. This is your water fill valve, and here's your spout for that. And that fills up your toilet, so that was hooked in like that. So then when you turn the water on, it goes down in there. That, you know, you don't want to just leave that hanging like that. Now, yours might be slightly different. That's just how this one happens to be. Okay. I think we're ready to fill this up. See what's happening. Time of reckoning. Let's turn this water back on. See what we got in the way of any possible leaks. Gonna cross my fingers. Hope that we don't get any leaks here. This is your next step. I'm gonna let that fill up. Might take a minute or so to fill this up. I'm looking at that, checking it all out. Everything looks good so far. Looks like it's supposed to. You get ready to take your tank off and everything. If you're taking off a toilet or something, look at all your innards and see how everything works. So that when you put it back together, you kind of have an idea where it's supposed to be. Now, I've given you some videos on that too on my channel. It shows you how to adjust your water fill valve tree, and how to adjust your flapper and things like that. This one looks pretty good. You're supposed to be about an inch down from the top of the drain pipe on down to the water. We got about an inch there. Looks good so far. See down in here what I was telling you, the top of this down to the top of the water should be about an inch. And that looks pretty close to an inch. That's where it's supposed to be. If it's not, you can adjust this water fill valve with this screw right there. Okay. I think I'm gonna set the camera back down and flush this and see if we're gonna have any leaks here.